The email arrives on a Tuesday morning. The sender is a woman I have never met. The subject line contains only 3 words. My son, maybe. I open the message. She explains that she recently read an article I wrote about hikikomori. The Japanese term refers to people who withdraw from society for extended periods, sometimes remaining almost entirely inside their homes for months or years. Her son, she writes, is 26, and she thinks he may be one of them. As researchers, we are trained to be cautious. People frequently recognize themselves in descriptions. Sometimes they are correct. Sometimes they are not. A week later, however, I find myself sitting across from her in a small cafe, listening carefully. By the end of the conversation, I am no longer particularly cautious. Her son's name is Callum. And if the word hikikomori applies anywhere outside Japan, it may apply here. Callum lives with his mother. He finished school. He worked several jobs. Nothing remarkable. A warehouse, a supermarket, a call centre, a few months here, a year there. There was no catastrophe, no dramatic collapse. No single event capable of supporting a documentary soundtrack. This is common. One of the most persistent myths surrounding social withdrawal is the belief that a major tragedy must always precede it. Research suggests otherwise. Many cases emerge from something far less cinematic. Disappointment, avoidance, comfort, delay. Callum's life did not appear to fall apart. It gradually narrowed. His sleep schedule drifted. His social circle shrank. One friend moved away, another got married. A third stopped calling after too many unanswered messages. Meanwhile, the internet remained available 24 hours a day. Researchers often describe digital environments as substitutes for social participation. I have always found that phrase slightly misleading. Substitutes are usually worse than the original. For many people, online life is not worse. It is easier, safer, more predictable. According to his mother, Callum began spending more time in his room. Then even more. Then enough time that nobody could remember exactly when it became unusual. At first, she worried. Then she encouraged. Then she argued. Then she negotiated. Eventually she adapted. This sequence appears frequently in the literature. It also appears frequently in families. Maybe later. She tells me this became Callum's favourite phrase. A surprisingly large portion of human life disappears into those 2 words. Maybe later. A job application. Maybe later. Meeting friends. Maybe later. Going outside. Maybe later. Years passed. When I ask what Callum does all day, she pauses. Honestly? Then she smiles for the first time. He still plays Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike. Now there is a word I recognise, not from my research, from my students. Apparently, entire generations have spent years shouting at one another through headsets while discussing tactics and insulting each other's intelligence. Callum, she tells me, was good. Very good. At school, he played under the name Calmshade. For a while, he dreamed of becoming professional. Then life intervened. Or perhaps it failed to intervene. The distinction is not always obvious. Months ago, something unexpected happened. Former teammates discovered he was still playing. One message became several. Several became regular conversations. Eventually, they asked him to join an online practice session. Then another. What they discovered surprised everyone, including Callum. He was still excellent, particularly in one role: lurker. I later learned this refers to a player who operates alone, gathering information, avoiding attention, waiting for the correct moment to act. When his mother explains the role, I struggle not to laugh. Sometimes reality demonstrates a sense of humour that academics lack. A Hikikomori who excels as a lurker. One could hardly invent it. The team is preparing for a major LAN tournament, a real one, with travel. Spectators, bright lights, actual human beings occupying the same physical space, and they want Callum there. Not online, not remotely, there, in person. The invitation arrived several weeks ago. According to his mother, Callum read it repeatedly. He said very little. Yet something changed. He began watching videos from previous tournaments. He discussed strategies. He asked questions. He even came downstairs voluntarily on several occasions. Researchers refer to moments like these as re-engagement opportunities. Callum, I suspect, calls them something else. Problems. Because opportunities possess an unfortunate characteristic, they require decisions. The following weeks became increasingly complicated. Part of him wanted to go. His mother is certain of this. Another part appeared determined not to. He worried about travelling, about meeting people, about sleeping somewhere unfamiliar, about being recognised, about disappointing the team, about embarrassing himself. The list continued to grow. Avoidance is extraordinarily creative. Given sufficient time, it can manufacture concerns faster than reality can address them. Yesterday, his mother phoned me. She sounded hopeful and worried. An emotional combination familiar to anyone who studies families. Or belongs to one. The boot camp begins this afternoon. According to her, Callum's bag is packed, at least mostly packed. His train ticket has been purchased. His teammates are expecting him. Yet he is now convinced that he may be getting sick. Nothing specific, just sick. Perhaps a cold. Perhaps something worse. He feels tired, maybe too tired. Perhaps travelling would be irresponsible. Perhaps the team should find someone else. Perhaps next time. Maybe later. The old phrase returns. I ask whether she believes him. There is a long silence. Finally, she answers. I honestly don't know. Neither do I. Perhaps he is becoming ill. Perhaps he is frightened. Perhaps both. Human beings rarely experience only one thing at a time. As I speak these words, I do not know whether Callum boards the train. I do not know whether Calm Shade arrives at the boot camp. I do not know. Whether he spends the evening discussing tactics with former teammates or sitting once again in the room he has occupied for years. The train leaves at 14:12. By tonight, somebody will know. At the moment, it is not me.